The Grow My Cleaning Company podcast helps owners of cleaning companies just like you to grow your company and yourself so you can make more money and finally get the time and money freedom that probably got you into this business. Discover how to automate and create systems that allow you to grow like crazy without losing control. If you dig the show and want to show some love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. It really helps. Enjoy the show. Hey, Cleaning Nation, Mike Campion here with Jack Pinkoski. I'm really excited about today's call because he is here. He's one of our 2 traffic or lead gen kind of specialists, and he does a lot of that for Cleaning Nation. And if you're like, that's what I want to hear, we've done many a podcast with Jackson. Go search. Today's not going to be that day. One of my favorite things about Jackson, having nothing to do with paid traffic, just as a human being and as a team member, is for us internally, he helps you guys or our clients with paid advertising. And he any sort of technical and we have I wouldn't say wildly complex, but certainly more complex business than a cleaning company. So there's a lot of moving parts with software integrating and blah, 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 and stuff that is probably my greatest weakness. Like I can do it if I have to, but I'm poor at it and it makes me unhappy and I get easily overwhelmed. So, and I'm not an easily overwhelmed guy. I've got big, broad shoulders for just about anything when it has to do with just about anything other than detail-oriented software work that if you get one little thing wrong, it goes to piss. So the reason that matters to any of you listeners is Jackson is probably my least stressed person on the team, and arguably would have ebbs and flows, right? Sometimes there'll be very little for him to do in that area, and he handles it great, obviously. And some things, there's a lot to do, like more than maybe an unreasonable amount. And, I think he's got other stuff going on in his life. So we're not the only thing he's doing. And not only does he always get it done, but he never stresses out to me about it. And it seems, and he'll share if this is the truth or not, it doesn't really get to him. Like he's able to go through this. So for you guys, I don't want you to be like, we're talking about how to implement software. No, we're talking about how to move from what can feel like an overwhelming challenge to overwhelming challenge without loss of ability or enthusiasm. Because when we feel overwhelmed and kind of get crumpled on the inside, and for a lot of you guys, it can be stuff like my books. That's a big thing people get crumpled on. Hiring administrative people, writing a hiring ad, starting a hiring flow. It's just maybe having price conversation, optimization conversations about price with your clients. There's stuff that you can get crumpled on. And it's not that, I think Jackson's a bright guy, but honestly, I think there's lots of guys that could probably do what he does, but they would be a pain in the neck, or they're not able to communicate well and they would get stressed out. The way that he does it is big. So I want you guys to that's my hope, is we can translate some of that brain juice of his, of how he looks at problems that could be considered complex and overwhelming, and not only gets them done effectively, but seemingly without a lot of stress in his life and with zero stress in my life. So big fat ask, Jackson, any thoughts on the question or how I set the table before you start sharing some wisdom?
No, I appreciate it, for one, that I come off so calm and cool headed. I always joke because I'm originally from California, right? And I live in Wisconsin now. And so I kind of fall into that pitfall of the laid back stereotype of the beach dude in California that doesn't, oh yeah, man, it's all good, just hang 10, but yeah, honestly, like the simple answer, or what a lot of people say, like, oh, therapy's great. But to be honest, it's true. It's like, I wasn't always really kind of calm, especially in college. I was always stressed about so many different things. And honestly, I learned from other people, or watching other people, or just kind of taking a step back and looking at the things I have to do and the things, you have to do in general throughout the day. Whether it be projects, personal life, business stuff, anything, is really just kind of piecemealing it all out, right? I guess that's really my approach to staying level with it. And it's a good approach for a lot of people to stay level with things and not get overwhelmed easily. Regardless of the project, whether it be your books or something I'm working on for Mike, for example, there's an end goal to it. Right? Like you have an end goal that you want to accomplish this. So if you're just looking at that end goal, that's when you start getting overwhelmed. It's like, oh man, I need more customers. So I need to get my books in order. I need to raise my pricing. I need to hit this and this and this and this. And before you know it, you got 30,000 things. and you're stuck. You don't even know where to start, or you get too overwhelmed to start. But instead of looking at that end goal as the end all be all, you really got to piece it out. Think of it like in your brain, think of it as taking boxes off a shelf. That's my methodology, is boxes off a shelf. Here's a project. It's a box off the shelf. I work on it. And then when I'm done with it, or if I hit a stopping point, or if I have to wait on somebody, or anything that causes me to stop that project, in my mind, that box goes back on the shelf and I don't touch it. It's off. It's done. It's on the shelf. It's gone. It's not in my brain whatsoever. And obviously it's a lot easier said than done. It takes time to get into that mindset of being able to work like that. But once you do, you start to realize how much easier it is for you to not only accomplish projects, but not to get overwhelmed with them. Another big thing is I write everything down, like handwrite everything down. This is probably my 5th notebook of this year. Everything from to-do lists to meeting notes to doodles to everything. One, it's a great reference point, but 2, it keeps you on track and it helps you feel accomplished, because I do a physical check once I finish something or once I accomplish something. I have it all in there. And again, that's really good at keeping my head calm and collected on this as you go through it. Another good point Mike said is it doesn't stress him out at all, which is something important that I try to do, because at least in the relationship I have with Mike is he pays me to do a service, and I realize what service that is. And he doesn't pay me to stress him out or to make things harder for him. He pays me to make it easier for him, so he doesn't have to handle that. And so it's when Mike asks me to do something that's within my purview, I go, okay, yeah, of course. Like, this is what you pay me to do. This is what I'm going to work on. And if he asks me something that's not my purview, I go, okay, Mike, great. I'll give it a shot. Just to let you know, it's not my thing. I might be able to figure it out. I might not be, or we might need to do something else to accomplish this task. And especially in Cleaning Nation, that might not apply to you because you might not be stressing out other people. But if it does, you realize I don't need to put my monkey on Mike's back. My monkey being the project, the task list, the to-do list, whatever that monkey is. It's not mine to give out. Mike gave me a project. It's my monkey now. I got to find the solution to get the monkey off my back. And Mike just sits there and watches it happen, that kind of thing.
So I've got a bunch of notes because you're just saying stuff that's like scratching where I itch, man. So glad we talked about this. I was a little worried because, we don't typically come on. Jackson isn't hired to do this. It's not what he coaches doing. He's just working with people. I work with lots of people, and he is very unique in that regard. It's funny because the skill set, not to diminish what you do, is bright, but there's lots of people can do technical stuff and have Jackson's brain power. If I was interested in it, I could do it. It's not that magic, but the ability to do it the way he does it, that's the magic. So it's really easy to be laid back and get nothing done. And it's really easy to get a lot done and stress yourself out and everyone around you be miserable. It is a gift to you and those around you when you can get a lot done and do it in a way that feels good for everybody. And that's so much more valuable than any skill set. So what that looks like for a cleaner is like when I'm so glad you said, I don't know if this applies to cleaning with, not stressing other people out. You're like, well, I don't work for anyone. I don't have a boss. Yes, you do. Like, I've got all of you guys are my bosses, right? My clients, my team is, I actually work for my team is the way I look at it. Not they work for me. So any boss can stomp around, Jackson, work harder, you son of a da, 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 and yell and scream and get crap done. And you'll be probably not surprised they don't retain the best talent. Or the people they do have a crappy attitude or don't like you. And there's just, you hate the business and they hate the business. So that not stressing other people out, I try to do the same thing, right? Like I carry a lot of stuff on my shoulders and I always try to be like, you know what? If they need to know so they can get their goal done, I should tell them. Or if I need their help, I should tell them. But 80% of the stuff I deal with, not only with Jackson, he cares because he's a good human being, but it doesn't really affect his world. And me just bitching to him would do nothing. So it's not like we don't share. It's just, and then Jackson does the same thing. So as an owner, he said it perfectly. Your customers pay you to solve your customers and employees, by the way, because I know your customer, you're like, I pay my employees. They don't pay me. No, your employees pay with their time. That's their life. Like money is renewable. They can always go make more. You can always go make more money. The life that they give you, they cannot go get back. And rest assured, they do not pay you to clean crap. They pay you to solve problems. So if you solve a problem, you're like, this is so hard and it takes so long and you're so whatever, they don't care about any of that crap. They just want it to magically be done. Same with your employees, right? You could go, oh, when you don't clean, the guy complains and blah, blah, and you could just bitch and moan about everything. Your employee pays you with their time to solve a problem. And that problem is they need a job. And you're like, well, that's money. Not really. The low wage worker that we have, I promise you, all of your employees get a better job, making more money, doing less work. Like, so when they pay you and choose to pay you with their time, they're going to do it because you're going to solve a problem. And that problem is, not only am I going to give you a place to work, but I'm going to give you a community and something to do and something that you enjoy and something to be a part of. And if you're shit about it, then all you have is the money, and you do not want to be competing for low wage labor on money. You want to be competing on something. Same with Jackson. If his number one goal was make more money, I promise you there's places he could probably make more money. I don't have a list that I'm going to provide him like just now, but I'm pretty, he and I both know if it was about the money, there'd just be another place. And it's not because we pay him unfairly, hopefully, but just because, I want us to be, top 70%. So 30% of the opportunity should be better paying, and 69% should be worse. So I just want to encourage you, don't stress out your employees or customers. It can feel good in the short term, but it will drive people away. And again, that doesn't mean you shouldn't have those conversations with the spouse. Jackson mentioned therapy. Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't have those conversations, but if I just crap on Jackson, to what end, right? Like, and vice versa. Last thing I want to say, and I'll let Jackson continue anyway, sees fit. You mentioned 2 or 3 things that I already do and I've never communicated. So it's really cool when you hear it. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. The breaking it down into small parts. A lot of us owners spin. We go, I can't get more customers because I can't get more employees, and I can't get more employees because I don't have any money, and I don't have any money because I can't get more customers. And we take like what should be 3 or 4 really fairly simple to solve problems, and we jumble them up into like, it's like if there's a broken light in a Christmas thing and it's all in that big tangle and you're trying to fix the tangle all at once, you can't do it. You got to start with an end and kind of untangle piece by piece by piece. And once you get all laid out, everything's very clear and easy to see where the problem is. But when it's a tangle, it's a problem. But we want to, I don't know if we get some weird feel good thing about, look how hard this is. Look how complex this is. We like tambling it. Oh, Jackson just gave me the visual. Yes, that's it. It makes us feel weird, I think, in a perverse, non-helpful way. So just breaking it down into the smallest little problem is by far the best way. And I also like the on shelf, off shelf. I feel like women have a lot of advantages over fellas that I think emotionally and mentally. This is one of the things I think guys do a little bit better, is they are good at compartmentalizing, right? Like women have everything interrelated, for better and worse. There's in business, it's in certain areas, it's much more helpful to have related. For what we're talking about, it's much better to be able to put it in a box. So for guys and gals, I would encourage you, break it down into those small boxes. And like, when I'm dealing with this box, that's all I'm dealing with. Like right now with Jackson on this call, my son's at school. At some point, I'm not really thinking about him. At some point, I'm going to pick him up. And as much as I love Jackson and you guys, I will not be thinking about you. And if Jackson wants to do a podcast, then I won't be interested, right? And Jackson's got other things he could do right now, but he's foregoing those to be here with us. So I like that we're just going to do this one thing. Real quick, Cleaning Nation, if you can think about how you found out about this podcast, maybe a tweet, a Facebook message, iTunes search, some sort of Instagram post, the only way we grow is word of mouth. We don't do paid ads. We don't run ads. You are it. The only ask I have is if you're getting value, share the love. However you found out about this, if it's a review or post, whatever it is, do that. Pay it forward so the next cleaning company owner can change their life as well. Back to the show. And I also like the solving problem frame that Jackson has. You actually said something to me a couple weeks ago that I really liked. My frame, which is not a good frame, around Jackson's job of, finding the details in software, is they're detail oriented. It's a pain in the neck. It's frustrating. It's unpleasant. It's tedious. These are all terrible frames if I need to do that job, or even hire Jackson. Could you imagine hey, Jackson, I've got this terrible, tedious, unhelpful job you're going to hate. Regardless of the pay, that's probably not the best way to get someone to do it. Jackson said, it's like a puzzle. I like doing it. It's fun to figure out for me. And I'm like, what a great frame. What a fantastic frame. So because I have Jackson, I haven't had to make that frame shift. But if and when I lose Jeff, God willing, I have to do some sort of tech thing, I'm going to go, this is a puzzle. And I like solving puzzles and I like figuring stuff out. So I just want to encourage you guys, if you're not feeling the way that you want to feel about any aspect of your business, it's probably the frame that you put around it. Like, is it true that solving technical problems is fun and it's a puzzle? Not particularly. It is for Jackson because that's what he's decided. Is it true that it's a pain in the neck and frustrating and uncomfortable and makes me unhappy? Could be, right? But neither of those are the truth. Jackson just adopted a truth that helps him be more effective and enjoy that process more. I've chosen a truth that is wildly ineffective and that doesn't help anybody. And then the last thing I want to mention, and then I'm just going to open up to you, Jack. You just said so many good things. I didn't want to miss any of them, right? I don't want anyone to miss. I like and again, Jack's, I'm old. So when I write crap in pen, I feel the same way. Like, oh, but I'm like, that's old man Campion. Everyone wants to type stuff. I love he's got a physical note for a couple of reasons. One, the way that your brain works, it connects differently when you hear something, when you see something, when you type something. And I think the best way, like little learning hack I got from Alex Hormozy, when you absorb information, buy the audiobook and the book and have the guy read it while you read it physically with the book, and you'll learn twice as much. Same thing goes with writing stuff down. If you just hear it, you're good luck remembering anything. If you type it, you'll remember it because you can go back and get it. But when you write it, that hardwires it in a different way in your brain. And then I also love that you got 4 or 5 books. How cool is it? I think a lot of us get to the end of the day and our spouse or partner's like, what'd you do today? You're like, I have no idea. I know I worked a long time and I know I'm going to do it again tomorrow, but I have no idea. It's kind of fun to have just books and books of checked off stuff and be like, okay, I got this. So that's my overview on that. What are any other, so that was just great. A lot of it is just like, yeah, that was so well articulated. Anything else you want to share with Cleaning Nation of how they can get more done with less stress, not only for themselves, but those around them in the way that you do so artfully with us?
Yeah. I mean, you said it really, really great, where people it's a good thing to be busy. And I'll say the unpopular opinion, it is not a good thing to be busy. Because busy does not mean you're accomplishing things or you're completing things necessarily. Oftentimes, people are just busy for busy's sakes because they think busy is productive. Busy is not productive. Busy is usually stressed out, and then you don't accomplish anything, and then you're more busy, and it just is a compounding loop. People don't care that you're busy, or people don't care that you're not busy. You shouldn't care about those things. You should care about completing what it is that you need to complete. And if that requires you to do one thing for the whole day, it only takes you like an hour, then awesome. You're done with that for the day. That's great. If it requires you to spend a week on it, it's going to take you a week, but once you're done with it. So keeping that in mind, it's kind of take your ego out of the equation and don't just be busy for busy's sakes. And then 2, we talk about boxing and segmenting what you do and only doing that. And it is difficult to do at the start. But when you think about it, this applies a lot to just daily things you do in your life. I mean, how many of you take your phone to the bathroom? The bathroom is not phone time, it's bathroom time. You don't need your phone in there. You really shouldn't be taking it in there. Same thing with driving. How many times do you check your phone at a stoplight? How many times do you, I can respond to this email. I'm at a long traffic light, or I'm stuck in traffic. Yeah,
sorry, were you talking?
There's nothing, you're not going to accomplish anything in that time aside from being dangerous on the road. God forbid you're doing it while you're driving, right? So these are all starting points. And that's how I started. It's because I did the same thing. I would check my phone at a stoplight. And then I started to put my phone in the back seat, like in the back pocket where I can't reach it. Like I cannot reach it while I'm driving, and there's no need to. And you know what happened? Nothing. Nobody got upset that Mike didn't get upset that I didn't reply to a Slack in 10 minutes. Nobody got upset that I didn't reply to an email or a customer complaint or anything like that. Nothing happened. And I went from driving time was driving time, and that was it. And then I got to the gym, and gym time became gym time. And then I went home, and work time became work time again. But it's just piecing that all out and starting small with things like that. If you're married or you're in a relationship with your partner, your spouse, whoever it may be, whoever you're living with, that's another good time too, to focus on them. Don't focus on work. Don't do anything. The focus is on them. Focus is on that conversation and spending time with them. That's all little ways you can start piecing out your day to not get overwhelmed. 2, to tag on to all this is like, how do you actually break out your time, or how do you break out your projects? And so what I'm going to say, like, your calendar is your best friend, and your calendar is going to be the tool that helps you guide your day on your projects. So say, for example, you have to get your books in order. Just going to use that as an example. You're going to block 3 hours of Monday morning. Hey, this is book time. This is working on my books, only working on my books. I'm going to put my phone in the corner of the room. Do not disturb. It's clearly stated on my calendar. I'm not going to look at anything else. I'm not going to have an email tab open. I'm not going to have a Slack tab. I'm not going to have YouTube open. I might not even have music on. I'm literally just focusing on the books for that 3 hours. Once that 3 hours is done, regardless of where you are, you're done. That's it for the day. If you scheduled more time, you have more time. If you didn't, you didn't. But that's it for the day. And then you have to get in the mindset of, oh, okay, I'm going to piece that away. It's a project for tomorrow or later in the day or whatever it may be. But use your calendar to guide you through that. It's going to be your best friend. I had one more little note. Oh, my favorite tool. Yes, this is my favorite thing. I do it every Sunday night. And I stole this from someone else. So it's their favorite tool. It's now my favorite tool. Sunday night, I get a piece of paper in my notebook and I draw 4 boxes, right? So 4 boxes of things. Box 1 is I put all the things I need to do for the week to help me accomplish what my goal is. More customers, save money, get my books in order. Box 1 is all the major things I need to do. Box 2 is all the additional things that can supplement that. Box 3 is any other appointments I have this week. And then box 4 is any other things that I'm doing during the week. And so you outline everything you need to do into those 4 boxes, right? And the first 3 boxes all should be pushing to your main goal, right? And if they are, great, they need to be. And if they're not pushing to the goal, say, for example, in box 3, you have, I don't know, go to the movies or something like that. I don't know, something that doesn't push towards that goal, it goes into the 4th box. And the 4th box is the devil's box. It's the devil's box that pushes you away from what you need to be doing. It's a distraction, essentially. And yeah, at the end of the day, when you're done writing those out on Sunday night, you look at it and you realize, hey, these are the things I need to schedule out. These are the things I need to try and phase out. And you push your schedule, push what your workload is towards the things that are helping you accomplish those goals. And that's paraphrasing. It's a long process. I watched like a whole 45-minute video on this whole thing, but that helps me plan out my week, helps me plan out what I need to do, leaves room for things that might pop up that I need to fix urgently. Like if Mike loses his phone number or his email or something like that, then I need to help him out quickly with that kind of thing. But yeah, those kinds of things are really important to keeping a level head and keeping you stress-free while you're working.
And if you think about it, Jackson, if you can find the link to that 45-minute training and give it to Lindsay so she can put it in the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll try and get the link available in the podcast notes. So if you want that full training, you can get it. So a couple comments that we're going to call it because we're going long. I forget the name of the principle. There's a guy who invented it. Sorry, guy. Don't remember the name, but things absolutely expand or shrink to the time allotted. So I love Jackson going, I'm going to give myself an hour or whatever that time is to do this thing. And what I get done, I get done. If you're like, I could just do this for hours and hours and hours, it shall take hours and hours and hours. But you'd be shocked if you gave it a certain amount of time, how quickly it can go. I found I'm getting much better at this, but my younger self and almost all of our clients, they often won't even have an hour a day of really focused work. And if you can build the habit of working focused, like Jack said, no Slack, no email, no text, no direct message, no interruptions, no music if it's going to distract you, only music that's going to help focus, but literally an hour of focused work a day, even if you had 2 45-minute breaks or just something, you know what I'm saying? Like, or 2 45-minute chunks, but an hour a day of focused work every day, Monday through Friday, 9 to 7, 5 days a week, 5 hours a week, you can build $1 million company. I've found most of us do 10 hours of busy work a day and almost no focused work. And that we just don't do that 1 hour a day. And the time, the return on that time investment of focus time, if you can just do 1 hour, focus on the right thing, that can beat 100 hours of just cleaning or doing stupid stuff. Last thing I want to give is multitasking. I hate people that are like, I'm good at multitasking.
No, you're not.
Yeah, you're not.
You're bad at tasking. Like you're good at multitasking. You're bad at tasking in general.
And there is no such thing as multitasking. There's only switching your attention quickly. Like if I look to my phone for a second, I haven't listened to Jackson and looked at my phone. I've taken the cues from the second before I looked at my phone And the second after I looked at my phone from Jackson, tried to fill in the gap, and I've made my own life a lot more stressful, me a lot less present. So either my conversation with Jackson isn't important and I should not do it again or try and get out of it as quickly as possible, or it is important, in which case I should focus there 100%. Now, the reality is Jackson may or may not give me dopamine hits, but my phone will. So we think I've got to check this, I got to check that. The reality is it's like, I want that dopamine hit. I want to look at my email, my text, and maybe someone will tell me something that's amusing or that makes me feel good or some other project. But what I'm really saying to Jackson is you're not the most important thing in my world right now, even though I've chosen to sit here and physically be with you. It drives me nuts when I'm with another human and we're looking at phones, unless we both agree like, hey, we're together, we're just going to, whatever. But if we're talking, someone else looking at a phone, I hate that. So there is no such thing as multitasking. And I love that if you think you're good at multitasking, what you're really saying is you're just bad at tasking, which is so well, or you're working on the wrong thing. If my phone's more important than Jackson, just say, hey, Jackson, no offense, you're not really worth my time. I'm going to sit and play with my phone. Probably won't feel great to Jackson, but he knows what a loser I am. And I'll just be, me and my phone can hang out and Jackson will go make an actual human connection. So cleaning company owners, just want to encourage you. You can do this. Make it simple. Focus. A lot of things that Jackson said are great. I would listen to this podcast a couple times. All right. Anything to add before we wrap, sir?
No. Don't stress. That's it.
I couldn't agree more with the don't stress. All right, guys, gals, that was super helpful and you want more, growmycleaningcompany.com. Coming up on 1,000 podcasts, hundreds and hundreds of hours of absolutely free content. Everything you need to build companies right there. Check it out. We'll see you there. Well, here we are at the end of the podcast and you made it. Great job. I've got a little bonus for you for sticking through with me. But like I mentioned before, if you got value out of this podcast and you want to show a little love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Spotify, wherever the heck you're listening to this thing. Share it with a friend. Share the love. And as a special thank you for those of you that stuck with me to the end, how about I give you my personal phone number so we can text? It's a great way for me to get to know you, your business, your goals personally. So shoot me a text now, 602-932-6431, 602-932-6431. I am the only one who responds to these texts, and I will personally respond to everyone I possibly can as long as this number is manned. Don't know how long we're going to keep this at the end of the podcast, so grab it now, 602-932-6431. Give me a text, say hey, can't wait to meet you.